Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and of course, since today, as I'm recording this, will be the start of the Super 12 stage for the ICC T20 World Cup, which is here in Australia. I'm going to preview the Super 12 stage, the next round. And predicting it as well. Also review. Also the group stage is just wrapped up last night. I have got my laptop here, my trusty laptop here to the side here. But also, I was in the supermarket the other night, and I came across this, which is the official program for the T20 World Cup. I got this. It was for $15. And I would assume you would find it. I would assume at your local Woolworths. I would assume or supermarket. Assume news agents as well, and also and obviously if you're going to one of the games in this tournament. This thing is not sponsored, by the way. I just wanted to say this. Also the staff of this video. Also, I really just to mention this as well. I really, don't get me wrong. I really do wanted to go to that game. There was go to a game. There's Australia. I wanted to go to the Australia versus England game, which is at the MCG. Unfortunately, it's on a Friday. So and with me working on that Friday, it's sort of complicated, really. I normally would get home I would get home from work at around about 4 p.m. and the game starts at I think it starts at 7. I think. Yeah, it starts at 7. So, from where I live, which is in Moe, which is in country Victoria, it's about 2.5 hours or so. Depends on the traffic down on the Princess Highway. And then obviously with me, I would have to have me personally, have a shower and that sort of stuff. Get changed, that sort of stuff. It's logistically, it's going to be impossible, really. So, I really do want to go, trust me, and experience the T20 World Cup myself, but unfortunately, with work, I can't. But if there's anybody like around Melbourne or even around Australia that is planning on wanting to go to this World Cup, then I'd recommend going, because even though I did experience this as well back in 2015 when I went to the Australia-England Cricket World Cup game, which was at the MCG. I remember it well. It was actually on Valentine's Day. I remember that one. It was the day when I think Finchie got his 100. Mitch Marsh got a fifer as well. I remember going to that, and the atmosphere in that day that I went, it was something I remember for the rest of my life. It was just incredible, the atmosphere, and I would assume it'll be a different sort of atmosphere with the T20 World Cup this year. So if anybody is wanting to go to this World Cup, I recommend you going, because it'll be something that you'll probably an experience that will probably you'll never forget. So got that one out of the way. So let's get straight. So firstly, I'll review the group stages. The group stage. So running through. So first we'll start with Group A. Now Group A, I'm happy with this one because I got all 4 of these predictions right. If you guys have followed me on my Instagram, on my YouTube channel, Instagram, at Brados Lemon YT, go follow me there. Shameless plug. I predicted, I think, Sri Lanka to finish first, I think the Netherlands second, Namibia third, and the UAE fourth. I think I might need to check that. I'll be very embarrassed if I've actually said it wrong on camera. But I actually, I've predicted that it'd be absolutely embarrassing. By the way, if I say I got all 4 of it right and I check and I got it wrong, so yeah, I might write my own comment if it was wrong. But yeah, but Sri Lanka ended up finishing top. Now it was a bit of a surprise when they lost their first game to Namibia. I was like, wow, that is quite a shock, and that was. And I remember that rightly because the next day when we talk about Group B, which I'll talk about in a bit. I think the West Indies lost to. I think they lost to Scotland. I think that with one of the 3 teams above them. But this one was the big upset. It was massive. Everyone expected Sri Lanka to just wipe the floor with Namibia. As it turned out, Namibia just absolutely destroyed them with the ball in the end, and won the game. But credit to Sri Lanka, they got that loss out of their system and basically won their next 2 games. One against the UAE, which was not surprising. It was an absolute bowling masterclass from the Sri Lankans in that game, and then the Netherlands, and then the game against the Dutch. It was a game they needed to win to basically book their way to the Super 12 stage, and they did. So basically, they won that one as well. So Sri Lanka and the Netherlands are the 2 teams that are going through to the Super 12 stage. The 2 teams got knocked down, unfortunately. Namibia, of course, they started off well in that loss to the Sri Lankans, but it was all really downhill from there. Really, I think the loss to the UAE in the last game really, I think it was really the one where it just basically was the end of them. Basically, was the end of them, and basically. And strangely enough here, they had a net run rate of 0.730 and they got knocked out. So that was pretty strange on that one. The UAE, I didn't expect them to do much, and it was solely when they finished bottom of the group. With the one win in their name, it was pretty close actually in both groups. But I think the UAE they did perform well, of course, with and then of course they got their first hat trick in the in T20 internationals. I'm trying to find it. Can't take my Ampen. Scored a hat trick I think the first two were caught, and then the third one, it wasn't the best ball that was ever bowled, but Dasan Shanaka just did not play it badly. He played down the wrong line. I think he must have expected it to be a leg spinner, but I think it might have just gone straight on. But it looks but I've watched it multiple times. It looked like for me that it just went straight on, or perhaps maybe spun it towards him a little bit with the googly. So a few positives to take from the UAE, but yeah, on that front. So that was it for Group A. Just a little bit of a little review for Group A. Group B was pretty tight. I mean, entering the final two games of Group B, all four teams in Ireland, Scotland, West Indies, and Zimbabwe were all locked on 2 points. We're all locked on one win, one loss each. And the two, simply put, the two winners would go through. Simple as that. So Ireland ended up versing the West Indies. And of course, an absolute chasing masterclass from the Irish. Saw them home by, I think it was by 9 wickets in the end, and ultimately knocked the Windies out. And in the other game, Zimbabwe for the very first time, by the way, through to the next round of the T20 World Cup. They have been in these they haven't been in these like super stages. Been in there, of course, back in the first World Cup. I don't think the first World Cup had this like super 8 or 10 or 12 stage in the first World Cup. So it's the first time they've entered into the second round of the T20 World Cup, and they finished up top as well. Only by net run rate of 0.1. Or under 0.1 net run rate difference between Zimbabwe and Ireland. Scotland ended up finishing third. Of course, they ended up, of course, with that upset win over the West Indies. And then speaking of the boys from the Caribbean, I mean, they are two-time. They're in a lot of trouble now. I mean, they were pretty much the favourites to top their group. Let alone everyone was expecting it. Yeah, everyone's expecting to finish top of their group. But nobody expected them to get knocked out, let alone finish last in their group. Let alone that. So that just proves that there's still a lot of work to be done over the West Indies. Of course, it's their first World Cup. I think I read this here somewhere. I think I read in here somewhere that there's the first, or read somewhere that it's the first time that, you know, Chris Gale, Dwayne Bravo, all these great and some other great, all the other great West Indian modern West Indian players are not in there because obviously they're retired. So yeah, and I don't think, I have to check this out here. I don't think there's even a mention of Andre Russell in there. No, Andre Russell wasn't even in the squad also. So Yeah. So they're in a bit of trouble, the West Indies. Everyone thought that they were just going to breeze straight through to the Super 12 stage, but that wasn't the case. So a big crisis going to be going on at the West Indies. Then they've not gone well in Test level for, let's say, 20 years. So too in the one days. I think the one days they haven't for about a decade, and now I think we're just about seeing the official down. Unless something is done, I think we're just about seeing the official downfall of West Indies cricket. No doubt, because because I think, because Sri Lanka are doing that right now, where they had that successful era where they had Sangakkara, Jai Wardner, Malinga, all these great players. Now they're forced to enter the second round of a T20 World Cup via the group stages, by the first round. So because of how not well they are. But with the progress that Sri Lanka is currently at right now, I think they're slowly, I think, getting back on track in that on that front, while West Indies is heading the other direction. So that is the massive difference. But I think so. But I think as I said, I think we're starting to see the official downfall of the West Indies in T20 cricket and in cricket in general. So now let's get into the important part of this video, and that is to preview the Super 12 stage. So we'll go into Group 1 first. So Group 1 will feature Afghanistan, Australia, England, Ireland, New Zealand, and and Sri Lanka. So we'll preview all the sides here. So we'll start off with the West Indies. Not the West Indies. Afghanistan. I don't know why I've got the West Indies in my head. I talked about them for a length earlier, and now I've got them in my head. So of course, Afghanistan. They've gone. They're pretty much almost a popular associate member ICC team. Pretty much, of course, they no longer need to go through the first round in the T20 World Cups. Now they pretty much automatically go through into the super stages, anyways. Of course, they've got a lot of established players, and also a lot of star players in there. Of course, they've got they've played in the Big Bash before, like Mohammad Nabi. They've got Majib Rahman. They got Aquais Ahmed, and of course the one, the only, without the one that doesn't need any intro, Rashid Khan. So I think for me, I think if all of those names I've just mentioned, fire, and all the other names that I didn't mention all play their part, play their roles and play their part, then I believe that I think this Afghani side can challenge for the top two in their group. But of course, as I said, there's a lot a lot of obstacles they need to go to do that with as well. The next team is of course the host nation and the reigning, defending T20 World Cup champions in Australia. So, I mean, what can I say about, Australia? I mean, last year, I pretty much expected them to be out in the I think it was the Super 10 stage, I think it was called. Last year, I pretty much expected them to be out then. I said I would be shocked if they would go out. Well, pretty much they did. They did, and they went all the way. I remember last year. I remember watching the whole of the semi-final. I remember staying up until 5 o'clock in the morning for both the semi-final against Pakistan and the final against New Zealand. I remember the final against Pakistan. I was planning on, waiting until like the first 6 overs or something like that, and then if it's game over by the 6th or 7th over, then I'll just go straight to bed. But I just kept on watching, and it wasn't until when Australia got to about 20 runs to win, I thought, oh, hang on, because all that time I was thinking, I'll get between 40 runs to win, get to the total past 40, to make it a really respectable get a bit of a respectable loss. But because it'd be embarrassing really if we lost by about 40 or 50 runs in the semi-final. But as time went on, confidence for me winning just grew and grew and grew. As I said, till the point where we're 20 runs to win, I thought, hang on, we're a chance here. And then once Matty Wade hit that second 6 off of one of my favourite international players in Shaheen Sharafredi, hitting for 6. With that 80-90 metre 6 into the stands, I thought, yeah, we're home here. And next ball, he ramped in for 6 to win the game. And then the final, obviously, we all knew what happened in the final. Davey Warner's heroics in that, and then obviously Mitchell Marsh. Obviously, I mean, he hasn't been the same player, Mitch Marsh, as he was before the Sandpaper Gate incident. Before that, he was just showing his potential in a future star. I mean, when he came off, of course, 200s in that 17-18 Ashes series, and then after Smith and Warner got banned, he was thrust into the vice captaincy. I don't think he really took it that well, and he wasn't really picked in the side, really, because of, I don't know how, but he wasn't picked in the side even though he was vice captain. And when he first got back into this Australian side in the T20 format, I thought, oh, I don't trust this guy. But that pretty much went away in that final, pretty much. Pretty much. And I even watched this with me pop, and I said to him, I think I don't know if he said this to me or I said this to him. I think I said this to him, that he is so to go 2 ways. Either Marsh scores a 20 and gets out cheaply, or he gets a big score. As it turned out, he got 60 not out, and he ended up 60 or 70 not out, and he ended up winning the game and was there when Maxwell hit the winning runs to win the World Cup. So yeah, and of course, obviously, it's a very different side, very different squad to what it was. To what it was last year. I mean, Tim David, of course, we all know of his big hitting abilities in domestic cricket. Obviously, with the Pakistan Super League and in the IPL as well. This year when he was playing for the Mumbai Indians, and so on and so forth. So yeah, and of course, as you guys didn't know, Josh Inglis is out of the side and replaced by Cameron Green. Apparently, Apparently Inglis was playing golf, and I would assume once he hit he hit the ball, and as he hit the ball, I'd assume I'm just assuming this. The club snapped in his hand, and and judging by the freakness of the accident, I'd assume it snapped from the handle, and it's just hurt his hand, and basically, and now he's out of the World Cup. He's out of the World Cup. So yeah. So that was that. And as I said, there's I think look at the side here. I think Tim David's the only new player into that squad. All the others are basically there last year. There's still the same guys in Finch, Cummins, who recently got announced as the new one-day international captain. Which I may or may not do a video of in the future, explaining my thoughts about it. Of course you got the other members of the big three in Hazelwood and Stark. You got Zampa, you got Warner, Wade, Stoinis, and of course the GOAT himself in Stephen Smith. So I believe for me, I think if they show what they did throughout last year's tournament, I think that, and of course being the home ground advantage, I think that would help massively for the Aussies, I think, in my opinion, as well. Next up is the team that Australia versed in a three-match T20 international series a few weeks ago. That being England. It wasn't an accurate case in that series, because basically most of the Australians, first team Australians that would be in that T20 World Cup, were resting for the tournament anyways. And I assume most of England's were as well. So it wasn't an accurate reading on where both those teams were at, really. I mean, England. Not surprisingly. They got a lot of key players that they're going to be key. As I said, going to be key to their World Cup chances. Of course, you got the captain in Joss Butler, Moeen Ali. You got Alex Hales, who replaced Johnny Bairstow in that side after Bairstow broke his leg in I think another freak golf accident. I'm not so sure about that. I think I need to research about that. Of course, you got Livingston as well, Liam Livingston. You got Adil Rashid, and others as well that have been here in Australia playing the Big Bash as well. Reece Topley, David Willey, Chris Wokes, and Mark Wood also not only with the Big Bash but also with last summer with the Ashes series, and obviously this most recent series a few weeks ago. So that would be a good stepping stone for England. Of course, don't count out the Poms. We all thought they were unbeatable in T20 cricket. Obviously, they were recently number one in the world until India took that away. And now, I think no doubt there will be a formidable side to be in Group 1 in the Super 12 stage. So next side that qualified via the group stage. If I can actually find them, is Ireland. So they did play very well in the group stage. Of course they destroyed the West Indies with the bat, and that is their. I don't think we should rule the Irish out, really. I mean they got formidable players of their own. I mean, players that have been in the Irish side for years now, as well. So I believe that so I think for me the Irish, I think that they probably should not count them out, really, in that sense, in this World Cup, in this Super 12 stage of this World Cup. I'm gonna run through these very quickly because I'm already half an hour into this video. Running through this very quick. So New Zealand, they of course they were close to winning their first T20 World Cup last year. They've been runner-up the last 3 ICC events. They were runner-up in 2015, the Cricket World Cup. Or 3 of the last 4, I should say. Of course, they've got a great record recently. If you date back already to 2011, I think they made the semi-final in the Cricket World Cup in 2011. 2015 Cricket World Cup, they made the final there. In 2016, they made the T20 World Cup. They made the semi-final. 2019 Cricket World Cup, they just heartbreakingly lost that one in the Super Over, famously, to England. And last year, they lost in the final again to Australia last year in the T20 World Cup. So they've never won an ICC associated trophy before. They never won the Cricket World Cup. They never won the T20 World Cup. Well, they have won the World Test Championship before. But they never won the T20 trophy and the 50 over trophy before, and they're primed to this one too. I mean, of course, led by their inspirational leader, inspirational skipper in Kane Williamson. I mean, that got guys like Trent Bolt, Martin Guptill. They got Jimmy Neesham, Ish Sodhi, Tim Southey as well. A good mix of they got a very good mix of experience, but also young guys in there. Yeah, a lot of young guys in there as well. They got Glenn Phillips in there as well. You got Glenn Phillips, the keeper batsman, in there as well. But it's mostly experience, basically. In this side, and let's hope it'll stack up. Hopefully, in Group 1 in the Super 12 stage, and then finally you get to Sri Lanka, which we don't need to get into. Of course they got a lot of star players themselves. I mean, they got Distan Shanaka, Hasalanka as well. You got I think you got Chimera, who I think got injured during the group stage. I think I heard that somewhere. The Sanka as well. You got all the others as well. You got Karunaratne as well, and then of course you got Hasaranga, which as well, which basically Kerry O'Keefe preferred to as The Undertaker because of his action as well, and said that his action's lower than a vegetarian's cholesterol levels. But that wasn't from me. That was from Kerry. That was from Kerry himself. So which was said last summer, which was very funny. But as I said earlier, they're they're in a transition stage. I think they've moved on from the likes of, from officially moved on for years for the likes of Sangakkara, Jayawardene, Malinga. All those guys have, I think Chandimal as well. Chandimal is Dinesh Chandimal's in the reserves, as it says here. But all those guys are either towards the end of their careers or already long retired. So I believe and I think they can string together some surprises. I think they could spring a surprise against teams like Australia, England, New Zealand. I think as well. If they keep going the way they played, especially in the last 2 games in the group stage. So that is Group 1. So we'll move. So we'll move on to Group number 2. So we will. And the first team in that Super 12 stage is Bangladesh. A bit interesting this one. I don't think they'll challenge for top 2. I don't think, because there's too many good sides in Group 2. But I don't think they'll expect them to finish bottom. I think they'll finish around about 3rd or 4th. I think at their best. I think most likely 4th, with India, Pakistan, and South Africa in this group. Or it possibly 5th if someone like Zimbabwe or the Netherlands can spring a surprise. They still have, they've got mostly a mix of young players in there. I mean, of course, you got Shakib Al Hassan, who's the captain, obviously, who's been one of the best all rounders in the world for years now. He's pretty much the oldest player in this team. The oldest player in this team, really. You got Mr. Vizur Rahman, who's probably going to spearhead the bowling attack for Bangladesh. But really, not much after that. Really, from what I can see. I know they played. I think they played a T20 series against. I remember. I think they played a T20 series against New Zealand over across the Tasman. They played a series over there. And I don't know how they went. I might have to look that up and see how they went in that series. But I think for me, I think that they can if all these guys that I mentioned, like Shakib and Mr. Vizur Rahman, and all that do play their role, and others around them do as well, then they can spring a surprise. They can spring a surprise in there. So yeah. The next side who most recently have now gone back to the top of the T20 rankings. That and apparently poses a major threat to Australia's T20 World Cup crown, defence. Is India. And it's very hard to see why. I mean these names. You got Rohit Sharma, Ravi Ashwin, Yuzvendra Chahal, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. You got Hardik Pandya, KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant, as well, and Mohammad Shami as well, who was the one that replaced Jasprit Bumrah, who was an injury cloud all the way through pre-tournament, and unfortunately was ruled out of the tournament due to injury. So I think it was a shoulder injury. I think it was called, and then obviously I can't go to talk about India without talking the one, the only Virat Kohli. Of course, we can't talk about him without that unbelievable catch he took in the warm-up game against Australia. I think it was a few days ago, I believe, where I think Australia it needed about 9 runs or 3 balls to win, and he was fielding down on the boundary, and he took this unbelievable one-handed catch. It was almost like the Jordan Silk 2013 catch, but just maybe a little bit better. It was just unbelievable, and it was sad. It was a warm up game. I said to myself, save it for the real tournament, Virat, rather than a warm up game, because. Or save it for tomorrow night as I'm recording this, because of course India and Pakistan are playing tomorrow night at the MCG. So why can't you just save it there? So I want. So for me, with them being number 1 in the world in T20 internationals, I fully expect them. I don't think they'll repeat what happened last year, where they shockingly got knocked out early in the Super 12 stage, didn't make the semi-finals. I don't think they'll do it again. I think if they do, then it will be a massive shock. I'm pretty much expecting them to pretty much finish top, really, finish either 1 or 2, pretty much. I think for me, in my opinion. For India, and I think, and there's no doubt that I think that their star players will thrive. I think for India, the next team, which progressed through via the group stage, again if I can find them, is the Dutch, the Netherlands. Don't get me wrong. They have a lot of players in there that have played in Australia. A couple of players that have played in Australia before, most notably Tom Cooper, who's played for multiple BBL teams. Tim van der Hoogten, who played for the Hobart Hurricanes in the past. And obviously a lot of other star players as well that are in there, like Colin Ackerman, Paul van der Mikkelen, Rufen van der Merven, Steven Myberg as well, and a lot of others as well. Will cause probably a surprise. Hopefully, with in this group stage, and I think for me, that they really did beat teams in the group stage. They really did. I mean, they bet Namibia in the UAE. They didn't quite get over the line against Sri Lanka, obviously, because they were number 1 team in that group. But I think no doubt. I think the Netherlands. I think will spring a surprise in the Super 12 stage. Next team was the host nation in the last World Cup, but unfortunately were knocked out by the eventual knocked out by the Aussies, who eventually end up lifting the World Cup trophy. And that is being Pakistan. Not surprisingly, of course, they're in a group with India. Obviously, it's almost like every World Cup tournament, whether it's T20 or 50 over, that basically it automatically will have India and Pakistan in it, in the same group, in the same group. So So they have a lot of star players in there that are still there from the last World Cup. I mean, of course, they have Harris Ralph, because I'd assume that he will play, no doubt, because obviously he has experience, of course, playing with the Melbourne Stars in the Big Bash most recently. He'll probably and can you believe it? Can you believe it that he will most likely, I think, in the last, I'd assume the second to last or the last Super 12 game, he'll probably play his 50th. He'll play his 50th T20 game, T20 international game, which is unbelievable for someone who wasn't even on Pakistan's radar until only 2 or 3 years ago. Unbelievable the rise from Harris Ralph, really. Other than him, I think you have of course Mohammed Rizwan. You got Shadab Khan. You got Shan Masood in there as well. You got Fakar Saman. No. Before you ask, no, I didn't say the F word. I said, yeah. I didn't say the F word, but yeah. So yeah. And of course, you can't. And then, of course, the two most important players, obviously, the captain in Baba Zaman. I mean, no doubt he's gonna. But if he would, same way as Coley, I think he'll be a prize for any bowler to get out really in this tournament. And also my personal favorite bowler favorite player, let alone bowler outside of Australia, is of course Shaheen Shah-Afridi. I mean, how can you not love him? He's exciting. The celebration as well, brilliant celebration. I just wanted to do that on camera, really, and I can't wait really to see him let it fly, especially at the MCG tomorrow night as I'm recording this. So yeah, and I think definitely in this group, no doubt, the two favourites for the top two positions are easily going to be India and Pakistan. South Africa maybe a bit of a chance if they can upset one of either Pakistan or India. But the Indians and the Pakis are definitely going to be the favourites to be top two in Group 2. Two more teams. You got South Africa. Now they're probably starting to be in a similar situation to what Sri Lanka and the West Indies, as I said earlier in the video, are going through, and that is all these stars. They used to have all these stars like had Duplessis, De Villiers, Dale Steyn, all these guys, all these guys. Now it's got all these young players in there. They still have some established players in there. Like you got Pavuma, you got Hendricks, you got Quinton de Kock, Aidan Markram, David Miller, in there as well. Wayne Parnell, Kagiso Rabada, Riley Rousseau, and so on and so forth. But there's also some of these new guys there, like Enrich Nogji, as well. You got Dwayne Pretorius, who's only just started, as well, and obviously Tristan Stubbs, who only just recently started in the T20 side for South Africa as well. And then obviously the others as well, and there's others as well in Ngidi as well. You got Maharaj in there, and then obviously you got Tabraiz Shamsi in there as well. So as I said, I think they're definitely the number 3 team in this group. As I said, I think if they upset one of either India or Pakistan, no doubt they will be in the top 2 to fight out to be in the semi-finals. it's because no doubt they'll beat Bangladesh. No doubt they'll beat Ireland. No doubt that they'll beat Zimbabwe, which I'll speak about in a sec. No doubt. So that is 1, 2, 3. That's 3 definite wins. The other 2 against India and Pakistan are not really. So that's 3 definite wins, but I don't think 3 is enough. I think that they have to be either one of India or Pakistan really to really challenge. For the top 2 spots. And the last team to talk about is Zimbabwe. I'm going to talk about them very quick because I'm 50 minutes in this video. Go in this video for 50 minutes really, and I'm going to do my predictions and wrap this one up. Of course they have they've got a lot of experienced players in there as well. They got Craig Irvine, they got Tentai Chitara in there as well. They got who else in there? They got Sinka Raza in there as well. Which most of these players players did very well in the most recent group stage as well. And then obviously there's Ryan Burl who as we all know he played very well in the Australian One Day Series a month or so ago, where he took 5 for 10 in a 1 day game. Jesus Christ! With that, so they can also string together a bit of a surprise, but I don't think they'll really do much in the Super 12 stage. I don't think, anyways. The only definite win probably will be against the Netherlands. Other than that, not really others really. And that is just about it really. So now I'm gonna do a bit of a prediction here. I hadn't wrote my prediction down, so I might as well will have to wing this. Bit unprepared for this part. So start off with Group 1, top 2. So, who do I think will finish top 2? I think this one's actually going to be a tough one. It's either going to be out of Australia, England, or New Zealand. Those are the top 3. I think England will be top. Now, that would mean that both teams that made the World Cup final last year, one of them's going to get knocked out. I think it'll be New Zealand, unfortunately. That would probably be a bit of Aussie bias in me, but I think Australia will finish second in their group. I think England. Australia will finish in second. I'm actually gonna move my laptop forward here, so on top forward here, so you just saw my laptop appear on the screen, and New Zealand as well. So that's the third. That is the third place. So that's the top 3. Now, I think Sri Lanka, they'll finish in 4th. I think the Sri Lankans will finish in 4th. And I think Afghanistan, the Afghanis will finish in 5th. And the last place team will be Ireland. I think that's my opinion. for Group 1. Group 2. Group 2's turn for me to predict. So I think, judging off, I think India will finish top, and no doubt I think it'll be India and Pakistan will be 1 and 2, just where I would place them. I think India will be 1. I think Pakistan will be number 2. South Africa, I think, will be 3rd. 4th. So I think it'll be Bangladesh. I think it'll be Bangladesh. I don't know. I need to check the schedule. I think it's just basically semi-finals. I think. Yes, it is. It is semi-finals. So I'd assume the order would be first in Group 1 versus second in Group 2. I must guess. So yeah, and then 5th position. I think 5th will be the Netherlands. And 6th will be Zimbabwe. So I'm predicting. So I would assume. I think it'll be India. And I think so. The first semi-final will be India. Will be India and Australia, and then the second. So the first semi-final will be England and Pakistan, and then the second will be India and Australia. So I forgot to mention this at the start. So with my predictions, go follow my YouTube channel, Instagram. My Instagram is based on my YouTube channel at BradosLemonYT. For my predictions for the Super 12 stage, as soon as this video comes out, I will post my predictions on there. So go follow me there. If me explaining it's not helping you, so yeah, so as I did with the Rugby League World Cup, I'm gonna predict far into the tournament. So semi-final in England and Pakistan. That one's gonna be a good game. I think unfortunately, I'm predicting Pakistan to win this one and go one better than they did last year and make the final this time. And so next one, India versus Australia, and I think that it'll be, and I think there will be for the second time, there will be an India Pakistan game at the MCG, and the second time it'll be an India Pakistan T20 World Cup final, because I think even though unfortunately. Even though I would love to see Australia make the final again, I think India have much more better players really than what India does. So I think it'll be India Pakistan final. Who I think will win it? I have a prediction here. I think India win this one. I don't think it'll be like what did in 2016, where the West Indies and England first twice and ended up one in the first early stages of the tournament, and then again in the final, both times ended up being the West Indies. I think India win the first time, but I think the T20 World Cup champions. That should have happened last year at home, but I think they'll do it this year here in Australia, and how appropriately they And fun fact, actually, I'm predicting Pakistan to win Australia after Australia won their first T20 World Cup, because in the 50 over game in 1987, Australia won their first World Cup title in India. Then in 1992, when it was home, guess who won that one? Pakistan. So I think that history will repeat itself, and I think Pakistan will be the 2022 ICC T20 World Champions. That is my prediction. Those are my predictions. So as I said, it will be on my Instagram account, on my YouTube channel based Instagram account. After this video is out. So that is pretty much it for. I should end this video now, because I'm just over an hour into this video. So so I pretty much have to end this now. So oh shit. Bit of a blooper there. Like this video. Like this video. Share this to anybody who is a cricket fan, or Australian cricket fan, or an India or Pakistan cricket fan. Comment down below, who do you think will win the T20 World Cup? Do you think it'll be do you agree with me in thinking it's Pakistan? Do you disagree with me saying it's India, or a different team? Do you think it's Australia, England, New Zealand? Who knows? I'd like to hear your opinion. And somewhere down there, click on the big red button, which is labeled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. And wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you. And it will be shining on one of these teams that when they lift this trophy.